Okay, so up to this point, we've had a conversation around uh, a presentation format for a strategic quality plan or an aspiration-based plan, also known as a 10-3-1. And we've also been through some of the basics around how to create a change plan. Now, there are times where having a full blown presentation with all the details and the backstory may not be appropriate, where you might just not have a lot of time and you want to give a quick presentation. And, that's more of an executive summary. And I think you'll find that you'll use the executive summary once you've done your basics around educating people around your aspiration plan and your vision and your new competencies, et cetera, et cetera. I think you'll find that you'll use your executive summaries more so. I also wanted to point out that this concept of strategic planning and change planning, it's really not limited to corporate settings, which is why for this example, I'm going to show you an executive summary approach using a local community version. So we had an issue in our town where we had three organizations that were running baseball programs, and they were competing against each other and tripping on each other, and very, very redundant in many, many ways, all with the best of intentions, but for historical reasons were we're still in existence. And there was some thought about moving towards a reorganization or a restructure of how it worked in town. So if I could, let's kind of show you, first we'll start with the scenario plan. So here's like a one-page scenario plan, which sort of talks about, if you look at the first column here, these are the different programs that were offered in town. There's a travel baseball program. There's what they call in-house, which is non-travel, which was your beginner t-ball and coach pitch leagues. Then we had our traditional Little League ages 8 through 12. And then we had our in-house recreational 13 to 15, often referred to as Babe Ruth League. So basically what I'm showing here is these columns here are four different scenarios. One being the status quo scenario, which kind of shows who owns what in the current framework. Another, which is basically showing the what if we left everything the way it was and only focused on the travel program and reorganizing that. One which sort of walked through a complete a full travel reorganization, but also keeping the recreational programs split apart. And then a fourth one, which was basically taking all three organizations and doing a consolidation, a total reorg of the program. So that would be an example of scenario planning. We had a lot of conversation in town about what would be, possibly the best view, the best way to do it. So, and then here's what an executive summary would look like. Let me just get rid of that top there for you. There we go. So, this is a 2-page document, a strategic planning document, basically, a 3-year plan, if you will. And within the plan, we have the name of the initiative. We have a basic statement, which would be your aspiration statement. What is to be accomplished. So very simple language. What are we here to do with your aspiration statement? And then some background about why are we doing this. So that would be really simple questions. And then how are we going to do it? And you can see in this particular case, we came up with 5 strategies to move the program forward in terms of creating this travel baseball program. So what is to be accomplished, why, and how. So that is a very quick way to get folks, sort of what is the strategy, what are we doing, what is the change. And then basically, here, when you're continuing your conversation about, well, what's next. This document is easily updatable, so you would have your next thing would be a status update, which you can constantly change depending on where you are in your plan. You can always give a status report. Give a little bit of context about the strategic expansion and what you're planning to do from a total strategy perspective with the actual tactics laid out. So here you'll see there's actual timing in place. The strategies, the strategic expansion included things like what are we going to do in the spring, what are we going to do in the summer, what are we going to do in the fall, what are we going to do in the winter, and then what is the developmental initiative, what are the things that we're going to do in each one of these categories, with timetables in place, with resources that would be required, and that would be things like costs, fees, who needs to be involved, and things like that. So again, very simple executive summary. Again, just to summarize, this could be a 2 or 3 page document, simple in nature. What is to be accomplished, why and how is how you would start it, and then status and your strategic expansion with timetables. So I thought you'd find that interesting, and this would be, if you were to put together your assignments for practicing on how to do a strategic plan, between the full-blown articulation of your capabilities on the one hand, also focusing on your innovation metrics, never forget that, and then also thinking about your change plan, about how you're going to drive change throughout the organization, and then also having an executive summary, and then you'll have all the pieces in place to manage your plan. Thanks again. I hope you found that interesting.